Jose, David Jose. As you know me on Facebook, I am going to start adding a couple of people on just to get things rolling. As a matter of fact, I wanted to make this public and I did not, so I apologize about that. Um, Oops, I'm not trying to add viewers. Hey, Francesca, I'm trying to share. So I'm going to share with some people. I want everybody to share. We got to get this stuff out quick. Um, we're facing a big battle in the United States right now, and the United States of America, I should say. The United States is a corporation, but we're fighting some big battles, and there's been some back and forth on different ideas, on different things, and trying to figure out what's really happening. And I'm not the smartest guy when it comes to the law stuff. We got powerful people who are killers in law. We got, Michi Slay, PAG Holder. We got um, Chris Hallett. We got Kirk from Kirk's Law Corner, Kirk Pendergrass. We got um, Fernando Morales. We got Lazaro, freaking monster. John Gentry, Will Holder. We got a ton of people all over. And the big thing is that it can it can get a little funny in the law world because the law world is like business. People get going, they gain knowledge, they gain wisdom, and people want to be the best. So sometimes you got people who can't play well together because they want to be number one. Well, for me and for many of the people I know, it's not about being number one. It's about coming together as one and winning against this wicked and evil system. Now, the funny thing about evil and wicked system is that an evil and wicked system never wants to attack you in the open and let you know everything that's going on, usually until they have to. Um, Usually, when you get people who are taking over a big number of people or destroying nations, they have to do it discreetly. They have to use deceit. They don't come out and just say, "Hey, look, we're gonna just, walk in." Excuse me. Excuse me. We're not gonna just walk in. I mean, we're gonna just walk in and take all your kids and, send them over to pedophiles, and we're gonna change the laws at the same time that make the ages younger and younger and younger to have sex with young people. They don't usually just come out and tell you what it is that they desire to do. They kind of work on you a little bit at a time. So I'm adding people on. If I'm looking down and you saying, "Hey, Dave," or something like that, please forgive me because I just can't see you right now. Okay, so I invited a lot of people, but I'm going to go ahead. That's right, from the inside. That is super deep that you said that. Now, what I'm going to do is, first of all, I want to say, look, uh, those people that I named, right? Francesca as well. Um, they are powerhouses in different areas of law and different areas of just fighting and battling. And I believe that God has put together a lot of awesome people, soldiers, I mean, powerful people. And I don't think I can make it public when I'm on the video. Let's see. Nope, I can't do it. I can't make it public while I'm on the video. I apologize. I can put it up public right after I get done. I'm sorry. Um, but here's the thing. I'm not the best when it comes to law. I learn stuff every single day. I'm good at research. I'm good at breaking things down and making it simple. I'm good at dealing with people's minds and helping them to grow. But, I learn from these people that I mention all the time. I mean, powerful things. And so what we have to do is we have to learn to just play our part in this battle. So somebody is going to have more law knowledge. Somebody's going to know how to write legal briefs better. Somebody is going to know, how to push the people better. People are going to have different roles, and that's the blessing of being in this fight is that all of us have a purpose, okay? All of us have something that we can do in the battle that others cannot do. And that's what makes us powerful. not fighting over who's the best. But what I want to do is I want to get into what's really going on behind the scenes, who's really attacking us, because we're fighting in a war, and this war we're fighting, this is how we look. This is how we look. We're like this. We're throwing punches. We're swinging our fists left and right. We're bobbing. We're getting hit, and we're fighting in the dark. We don't know who it is that we're fighting. We don't know who it is that's running the systems. And that's one thing that I know that I can do is I can look. Oh, I saw that too, Kirk. I didn't understand what it meant, but I saw that something good happened. But that's the thing. And look at what Kirk is showing. He's showing that Chris Hallett just had some success yesterday where something got accepted. I don't know exactly what it meant, but but I know that it's huge, and I know that God is knocking down the walls. Okay, so it's so huge because you look at it, it's like you get these different people who fight in the system, and they're angry at this guy, angry at that guy, or who made what knowledge first, who did this or that. But the walls are crumbling in the process, and we could just stop fighting each other, start talking to each other, building each other up, and seeking out as much knowledge as we can, and we can bring our freaking kids home. And I'm telling you that with all honesty, with all belief, with all faith, that I know that our kids are coming home. I know it. I just know that we have to battle, and we have to come together in the right way, and we got to back each other up. And then good things can happen, super good things. So what I want to do, I'll talk to you guys about this National Council of Juvenile and Family Court Judges. National Council of Juvenile and Family Court Judges. And this is a membership organization of judges, attorneys, caseworkers, police officers. These are the predominant number of people who are coming and taking our kids. Now, people heard me say that before, and they kind of blew it out. They blew it off. They're like, "Yeah, man. Well, I don't know, man. I don't know if this is true. I don't know if there's different groups of people working together to take our kids." And I'm saying, yes, it is. And so what I want to do is, I do want to show you this council of thieves, as Sherry just said, because that's exactly what the freak they are. I'm going to show you a document from the National Council of Juvenile and Family Court Judges. Okay? I'm going to show you a document. And when you see this document, it's going to make you sick, because how is it that our law has completely changed from law to associations taking over and doing whatever it is? Whatever it is. Oh, wow. The paperwork from yesterday is exactly what the 3 judges affirmed. Ooh, it's about to get ugly. Oh, Kirk and Chris and them are doing some bad, good work. They are killing it, you know? Wow. And I wish you guys could have got on a video where it was like at least an hour or two long or whatever, and we saw some powerful stuff. Yes, various judges from various states. Watch this. I'm going to show y'all this document. I got a little off track. Watch this. So, I like to zoom in so y'all can see what I'm reading. National Council of Juvenile and Family Court Judges, NCJFCJ. The NCJFCJ is one of the largest and oldest judicial membership organizations in the nation. What's up, Christian? Serving an estimated 30,000 professionals in the juvenile and family justice system, including judges, referees, commissioners, court masters and administrators, social and mental health workers, police, and probation officers. The NCJFCJ resources include cutting-edge training, wide-ranging technical assistance, research to assist family courts, and unique advanced training for judges and other court professionals offered in conjunction with the University of Nevada, Reno, and the National Judicial College. So this is who's working together, y'all. These are the teammates that are coming together after our little ones. Look at this. Talking about the American Bar Association. The ABA is one of the world's largest voluntary professional organizations committed to improving the legal profession eliminating and enhancing diversity, and advancing the rule of law. So we got the bar involved. We got Association of Family and Conciliation Courts, Battered Women's Justice Project, Judicial Education Reference, Information and Technical Transfer at Michigan State University, National Center for State Courts. So we got a whole bunch of people working together. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you some of their words, and it's gonna get super. That wowzers is ours, okay? This is from the person who did the research. Watch this. They got something called model courts, right? So these courts that we're dealing in, they call them model courts. I ain't never read anything about a dang model court inside of the Constitution. If y'all seen it, y'all tell me. But it's funny that Kirk has been telling us to look at the Declaration of Independence. And inside of the Declaration of Independence, you see where the people brought forth facts that the king actually got into a situation where he was creating courts to pretty much follow his idea of law and not the law of the people. And so the people were upset because they talked about the foreign jurisdiction that he brought them into that they did not ask for and that they did not tell, not Congress, but the Parliament they could bring forth. Now watch this. We look here, expectations of model courts. The model courts are what they're taking you in to steal your kids. To participate in model courts project, the PPCD requires that each model court demonstrate a commitment to improving court practice in the handling of child abuse and neglect cases. Well, I thought it was your state that was doing it. Each court must evidence its commitment to implement change. To implement change. Talk about change agents. Implement change by designating lead judges who has the ongoing support of the presiding or chief judge to implement court improvement activities court-wide rather than in a single courtroom. Now, this is deep because there was a time where you would go to a little courtroom and they would deal with your family law cases or your juvenile cases. But now they're saying, no, we need to spread this out across the whole court. Their idea is for the presiding judge to bring forth change into the way that the court functions court-wide, not just in one room. So the whole idea is for the presiding judge to bring forth change and policy and teaching that is different from what the law has always been in order to give them a little bit of progress more and more in order to take over the whole freaking court system. Yep, sounds like guidance documents. Watch this. It's going to go freaking deeper. Watch this. This is their own stuff. This is where I have fun. Look at this. Okay. While model courts' best practices may be piloted in a single courtroom for a specific period of time to facilitate their adoption. See, they just want to get it in a single courtroom to get it going. And then they want to get you to adopt it so they can expand and do more and more and more and more against our rights. Watch this. It is the expectation of the Model Courts Project that the best practices be disseminated and adopted by the entire dependency bench in that model court jurisdiction. The presiding or chief judge must also be available to open to communication with the model court liaison. So they got a little liaison that comes in and help him to learn or her to learn how to take over courts and how to make things the best for them and their businesses. Watch this. The lead judges must make a commitment of time, effort, leadership, and authority to these systems change efforts. You talk about change agents, they're putting in people through the bar and through private associations to change the way that family law and the courts work. Watch this. This is going to get really deep because it shows who their allegiance is to. Watch this. Lead judges must commit to becoming members of the National Council of Juvenile and Family Court Judges. Watch it again. Lead judges must, not should, not could, not if they want to, not that it's voluntary. Lead judges must commit to becoming members of the National Council of Juvenile and Family Court Judges and encourage the membership of other stakeholders in their jurisdictions. Do y'all see that? We got the National Council of Juvenile and Family Court Judges working with presiding judges. And then their whole goal is they must be willing to get into the courts and tell everybody else who's trying to fight for kids to get into um, the National Council of Juvenile and Family Court Judges. So what happens is that we're not looking for the best interest of the children. We're looking for the best interest of this family court and this juvenile association. It's not a family court. It's an actual private membership association that's running the cases. And what they're doing is trying to get everybody in there so they can all work together to bring forth outcomes the way they want, not the way the law would say, not by giving fairness, but by how the private entity is working. So they're saying that the lead judges must commit to bringing everybody on to the National Council of Juvenile Family Court Judges. You see what I'm saying? So this is crazy that our so-called judges are signing private contracts with private membership associations and being forced to work in the way that they want. And then the lead judge must convince everyone else to get caught into that system and work in that system. And notice they work with 30,000 members. 30,000 members. Freaking crazy. But let's continue to look. A variety of judges can serve as model court judges, including chief, presiding, senior, supervising, administrative, associate, deputy, district court, and tribal judges. Everybody talking about we're in courts. We're not in freaking courts. We are inside of private membership association meetings that we're being trafficked into against our will and without full knowledge. Watch this. Dockets that may lead judges to carry include juvenile justice, dependency, delinquency, child welfare and protection, domestic relations, domestic violence, custody, support, paternity, and family law. Small, rural, and tribal communities have general jurisdiction judges serving as lead judges. So some of y'all people in small areas say, well, look, I'm in the district court, or I'm in this court, or I'm in that court. No, you're in the same freaking thing. With only a portion of case law pertaining to juvenile justice and family law, judge-supervised judicial officers can appropriate alternatives when judges face increasing child abuse and neglect caseloads. Okay? So this is what the model court system is. And nobody's telling us it's the model court system. They're telling us we're in superior court. They're telling us we're in whatever, or this person's superior court judge. Not when they have a contract to work on behalf of these freaking clowns. The commitment must be initially made by a judge willing to accept the responsibility to spearhead systems reform efforts specifically aimed at improving the lives of children and family involved in the foster care system. We know that's a bunch of bull. They don't give a darn about the kids. They're working for themselves. The lead judge in the model court jurisdiction must bring together a multidisciplinary collaborative team that appropriately represents the range of stakeholders in the community. Did it say represent the children? Did it say bless the children? No, look at it again. The lead judge in each model court jurisdiction, that's what it's called, a model court, not a freaking constitutional court, not an Article 3 court, must bring together a multidisciplinary collaborative team that appropriately represents the range of stakeholders, the business owners that make money off of it. The multidisciplinary team must have regular standing meetings to establish and monitor model court goals. The model court goals is looked over not by the people, not by the courts. It's looked over by the freaking range of stakeholders that are the multidisciplinary team. Watch this. A strategy plan for goal achievement. The ideas from different stakeholder perspectives assist the courts in developing individualized approaches to improve court practice that are based upon the unique needs of each court, child welfare system, blah, 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 blah. Now, come on, y'all. This is freaking crazy. This is freaking crazy. Now, some people laughed at me and said, okay, well, David, you said the police are involved in this type of situation. The police are involved. I'm going to show you something else. Look at this. It's page 44. From page 44. Model Code on Domestic and Family Violence, 1994, National Council of Juvenile Family Court Judges. Law enforcement. Continuing education for law enforcement officers concerning domestic and family violence content, of course, the Peace Officer Standards and Training Committee or other appropriate state agency must provide insert number of hours initial education to all prospective law enforcement officers concerning domestic and family violence. And Kirk can let you guys know about that, about how they changed the term domestic tranquility, I think it is, to domestic violence. So they're trying to make it seem like there's some war in the house that they need to step in and take care of, even though in your house is actually the private and is not the public. And so they're getting a private agency and trying to give them permission to come into the house and take over private affairs, rather than just sending police to deal with issues if there was some type of crime. But watch this. So it gets even deeper, because people are saying, like, well, why is it that we have to do these services? Why is it that we have to do this or that? Now, are you doing services because you did something wrong? Or are they trying to prove you did something wrong to say that you need services? Or are they just trying to sell you services? Let's see what these people have to say. Model Code on Domestic and Family Violence, 1994, National Council of Juvenile Family Court Judges. Duties of Child Protection Services. So who's making up the duty of the Child Protective Services? Is it your state? Is it the feds and this private membership organization? Or is there something else going on? Watch this. The parent of the child is a victim of domestic or family violence services must be offered to the victimized parent, and the provision of such services must not be contingent upon a finding that either parent is at fault or has failed to protect the child. Did y'all catch that? They're saying that they have to offer you services no matter if there was a proven case of abuse or not. So their whole goal is to do what businesses do, to provide you services. And providing you those services is what helps the people who are part of the stakeholders to make money. It has nothing to do if you did wrong or not. And I tell people, look, the evidence don't matter. Everybody want to argue about, well, in my case, I had all this fraud and all this evidence that I didn't do wrong. They don't care if you did wrong. We shouldn't even be discussing that. They have contracts. They're trying to get their contracts paid. And in order to get their stakeholders paid money, they have to provide you services. That means it's a freaking business. They provide services for money. You look at the Clearfield Trust Doctrine. Anytime a business, a government entity, if they were a government entity, provides you services, when they provide those services, the only thing that happens is that they become a mere private corporation and can be sued. So this is why they are trying to bring us into courtrooms. They don't want us to know. They don't want us to know that they are private entities that are providing service money. They want us to think that they have some right in the courts to do what they're doing. It's freaking bullcrap, okay? Bullcrap. Watch this. I'm going to read y'all another part. Watch this. And while they got you jumping through hoops, they're making it look like you're leaving your kids at a certain time outside of the house, and once it hits like 15 or 22 months, they're able to take them. That's the bull they're trying to run. Watch this. Agency makes services available to parents of abused children under the supervision of the agency. So agency makes services available to abused children under the supervision of the agency who have been victimized by domestic or family violence. But nobody's even trying to prove that it's violence in a house. This subsection requires that services for parents victimized by domestic or family violence are to be undertaken whether or not the abused parent is found to bear any culpability for the abuse of a child under the supervision of the agency. Findings of neglect, abuse, or any failure to protect by the parent victimized by domestic violence violence are not a prerequisite for services. So you don't even really have to have any neglect, any violence, any problems in order for them to give you services. You see this crap? You don't have to have any sign of neglect, any proof of neglect, any proof of being unfit for them to give you services. So, is this about protecting children or is this about providing services? Because if you don't have any proof of neglect, you don't have anything that's been done wrong that you can see, why the freak are you offering people services at the barrel of a gun? Why are you taking people's children? And see, this is the thing. The National Council of Juvenile Family Court Judges, I put a post on my page. This is from the 1994 1994 Model Code on Domestic and Family Violence, 1994 National Council of Juvenile and Family Court Judges. So here's the thing. They don't freaking have to, it doesn't matter if you did something wrong or not. They don't need you to have done anything wrong. They just want to give you services. But they're snatching your kids, getting a cop to aim a gun at you. The cop isn't educated to know that they're committing fraud against you and kidnapping. So what ends up happening is they make a fake order that from a business, because the judge is ran by the business. We just saw that. The National Council of Juvenile Family Court Judges is the one who's pushing the judges to do what they do. All right? So the thing is, once the judge makes a contract, any contract, with any other association or agency, they are no longer in their public capacity. They're in their private capacity with the X contract to contract. Now, people don't want to believe me when I say that, but it's freaking true. Ohio, their contracts actually in Title 4D, I see this from Amin Osiris, actually shows that once you sign that contract, you're working as a private contractor and not in office as government. But what our silly judges are doing in the higher courts, in the Superior Court, in the freaking the Supreme Courts of our state, they try to act like, oh, well, these people are judicial officers who made a decision, so they have immunity. No, the freak, they don't. They're working under a private membership organization, which is foreign to freaking us. It is not based on our law and our Constitution. It's a foreign entity that is coming forth with their own set of rules, their own constitutions and bylaws, and forcing on us services to make us fight to get our little ones back, which they should have never taken without proof. Yes, private contractor can be sued. Watch this. We're going to get even deeper. Watch this. This gets ugly. Brief authored by Elizabeth Whitney Barnes, JD, Assistant Director, Permanency Planning for Children Department, National Council of Juvenile Family Court Judges. Technical brief is a publication of the Permanency Planning for Children's Department of the National Council of Juvenile Family Court Judges. The National Council of Juvenile Family Court Judges wishes to acknowledge that the material is made possible by cooperative agreement. Didn't I tell you about that? Cooperative agreement number 2008-CTBXK012. Look this up. From the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, Office of Justice Programs, U.S. Department of Justice. See how many agencies are involved in this? So these people have been working for a long time, running stuff, secretly invading us, and they're using cooperative agreements, just like I showed you guys before. Let's look at the bottom of this introduction. The case of children in foster care are managed by child welfare agencies and overseen by dependency courts. Courts with dependency jurisdiction, notice they're in that same private membership though, as well as child welfare agencies and supporting systems should shoulder increasing responsibilities resulting from the complexity of cases moving through the system. Now, they try to use the complexity to say that a normal judge in an Article 3 court would not qualify to understand. No, what's happening is they're making it sophisticated and using private entities to try to make this work. Involving federal and state child care reform laws, federal and state. See, this whole system is federal. They're using a federal corporation to get federal money, and when they get that federal money, they're using it to incentivize the taking of little ones. They know that they're stealing kids. They know that they're making these so-called statutes and crap, but they're committing a fraud against us. Look at this: involving federal and state child welfare reform laws and national reform initiatives, and increasing economic struggles as states and local budgets are reduced in difficult economic times. Now, that's bullcrap. They're lying. These people are getting billions of dollars. They ain't losing a dang thing. They're stealing money from our Social Security, and they're not struggling. Look at this: Child Abuse and Neglect Institute. Watch this. Lead judges are given the opportunity through model court and self-funding to send a judge or judicial officer to PPCD Child Abuse Neglect Institute held annually in Reno, Nevada, or in one other location in the country. Participation in CANI serves many purposes, among other things, to educate judges and judicial officers about the interplay among federal laws, for example, ASFA, ICWA, ICPC, and best practices to gain awareness of minority disproportionality and disparities in the dependency system, to gain an understanding of child development and family dynamics, substance abuse, and the cycle of use, dependency, and recovery, to learn how this knowledge informs and enhances judicial decision making. Now, why aren't we just making decisions based on the law? Did the person do wrong or not? Did they really have a dependency issue because they hurt somebody or killed somebody or did a crime or something like that? Why is it that we got to look at all these other things like substance abuse when they show that there's no proof of any wrongdoing that's needed? So they'll tell you to go to a substance abuse class, but nobody ever proved you use a substance. See, it's just fraud. Watch this. To explore the leadership role of judges and judicial, look at this, the leadership role of judges and judicial officers on and off the bench, and how this role can be managed within the canons of judicial ethics. See, they got to be taught how they can use the canon of judicial ethics and take part in this foolishness, because it has nothing to do with the law and it does not go along with their judicial ethics. And to provide judges and judicial officers with the opportunity to practice their new role and apply their new knowledge. Practice their new role and apply their new knowledge. Well, here's the thing. If you were already a judge and a judicial officer, you had everything you needed in order to be able to understand the law, in order to be able to deal with cases. So what is it if you have a new role and new knowledge that you're going to apply in your new practice? See, when you're working in these juvenile courts, it's definitely a new practice because it is outside of the law that the judicial officers are used to. It's outside of the law. This did not come from our Constitution. This did not come from anything that deals with the common law. This is people doing what they want to do. Now, they have what's called this model court liaison that comes and talks with them. Now, what's deep about this model court liaison, hey, Seto, what's deep about this model court liaison is they're going to come and they're going to do something. Now, notice they don't want us to share our information and don't even want to give us our own records. But this model court liaison, let's see what they do. Watch this. During site visits, model court liaisons engage in some combination of the following: observation of court hearings. Okay, people observe. Conducting interviews with stakeholders. So you're the liaison, you're looking at the cases, and you're working with stakeholders, the business people. Participation in and observation of multidisciplinary advisory group or other meetings. And watch this. Review of court and agency files. Now, we as mothers and fathers can't even freaking get our records. We can't even get our records, but these people can come in and review court files. Who are these people, these model court liaisons? And can somebody show me this model court in the Constitution? Where did it come from? Where did it get its power? Is a private membership association allowing for them to have power to do what it is that they do? Watch this. Let's look at more. Watch this. Fundamental to the model course is sharing information and the networking of individuals among model courts and jurisdiction nationwide. Can somebody tell me what that word means right there? What is individuals? Individuals? What is that? Individuals? Model course is sharing information and the networking of individuals. Are you telling me this is not just a court fighting to in each individual state separately to make sure kids are okay? Is it possible that these are individuals, private parties in their individual capacities networking to bring forth a desired outcome, which could really mean taking your kids from you to sell them for money because they keep talking about stakeholders? Watch this. Let's see some more. The model court has developed a sustainable, multidisciplinary, collaborative structure. Not just the judges making decisions on their own, not just judges looking at the law to see what the truth is, but multidisciplinary, uh, collaborative structure. Look at this. Court facilities accommodate the needs of children and families. Voluntary agreements are limited and time limited with a statutory framework. Yeah, that's how they get you to get caught up in a situation where they get you to deal with them or whatever by making a voluntary agreement. Watch this. Emergency orders that are used judiciously for the protection of children offer procedural protections for parents, are expeditious, and receive as much careful consideration as the circumstances allow. Now I'm going to show y'all something else. That's a freaking lie. Now, this is where we're going to get deep. When a court is working by contract and making money as a private business and collaboratively working with other agencies, the court is not independent using its judicial power. Burns versus Superior Court, that court can't even freaking make any orders at all. Anytime the party who's supposed to be the judicial officer is under contract with other entities and working together as a business with the federal corporation giving all this money, they become private and they cannot write judicial orders. They're trying to trick you. You can't have a judicial order when the judge is not acting as a judge. When the judge is acting administratively, he cannot write orders. All right? Now, let's look at this. Let's see some more. This is going to get even worse. This is some fire, y'all. Watch this. The model court has developed a sustainable, multidisciplinary, collaborative structure. The lead judge having an active and ongoing role in collaborative activities. What the freak is the judge doing working with other people? This is freaking crazy. Regular scheduled and held meetings. Identify leadership structure within the collaborative. Watch this. Representation from a range of community stakeholders involved in services to children's families. Stakeholders are the ones making money in the business. Watch this. An established method of documenting committee and subcommittee activities, accomplishments, and outcomes. Consistent communication between the court, the stakeholders, and the community. And long-range goals for future development and growth. They're trying to grow the freaking business, y'all. They're trying to grow the business. Watch this. The lead judge is perceived by the president, chief judge, the collaborative members, and the model court liaison as the driving force behind the court reform efforts in the community. They got change agents who work for the National Council of Juvenile Family Court Judges and using them to make them the ones that everyone else perceived to be the driving force behind the change. Now, watch this. People want to tell us these are courts of record. Listen, y'all. Listen. These ain't court of record. All right? Now, I told y'all, this ain't no freaking court of record. And people look at me like, shut up, David. You're stupid. You don't know what you're talking about. All right? Shut up, David. These are not courts of record. People keep hearing me say it. Court of record, court of record, court of record. Well, what's a court of record? A court of record is a court that generally has a seal. A court of record keeps the record immemorial. They're putting it in so it can be seen and examined. Okay? Examined for time immemorial. We can go back to cases where somebody done wrong back in the day, and they will keep the record of it, and they'll make sure that it's a clear understanding in the public for what is being done wrong. We ain't got that in juvenile court, but some people believe it. People like, Dave, why don't you go get your records? Why don't you do this and do that and listen to your records and read it? And we want to see your records too. Screw the records. It's full of lies anyway. I don't give a freak about their records in some fake freaking court. But I'm going to show y'all something. See, I'm going to show y'all something that people don't want us to know. Because in my court case, they tried to say that my wife did not testify under oath, and I didn't either. They didn't ask me to testify, and my wife did testify, but they got caught telling that lie. And there was a news reporter there recording the whole thing, and we had the audio tape of her whole trial hearing where they examined her, and I cross-examined her. Now, what's funny, though, is that people believe that they got your records or whatever, and this court reporter is keeping your stuff, and they just know exactly what's going on, and everything is good. This is just good stuff, Let's look at something, y'all. Let's see if Coach Dave is lying. Look. Court clerk sits in the courtroom during hearings, takes notes, and is responsible for keeping track of any exhibits submitted as evidence. Funny thing is they strike the heck out of it. But watch this. Watch this. Court reporter. In some courts, copies down everything that's said by anyone during a court hearing. Many courts no longer use court reporters and instead keeping a record of hearings. And some family courts do not keep a record at all, unless a party or attorney asks for one. The National Council of Family Court Judges, juvenile family court judges, got the nerve to sit here and let us know that these clowns ain't even keeping a record. But people say, oh, Dave is stupid Dave don't know what he's talking about. He's just a rookie. Yes, I am a rookie, but I'm a rookie that freaking learn fast. I do the research, all right? And this was found by one of my partners that helped Jay Laws, all right? Now, what's deep is, watch this, custody evaluator. The guardian ad litem is appointed by the court, which the court ain't even a freaking real court, it's not a court of record, often at request of one or both parties to represent the children and or to argue for the children's best interest. Their role can change depending on the court and the order appointing them, but generally, they provide information and sometimes recommendations to the court about each party's parenting, which they don't even know about you. They snatch you into the situation without any proof of wrongdoing, so how are they going to tell about your parenting? Each party's parenting and the children's well-being. They may interview the parties and the children, observe each parent with the children, visit each parent's home. They may. You ain't got no freaking judicial power to tell anybody they can go into anybody's home. What the heck is wrong with you people? This is freaking crazy. They're literally making orders to do things, and they're not even... This is a unlawful emolument. Thank you, Chris Hallett. Unlawful emolument. They have a form to do something that they should not have based on their normal official position. They work in an official position, okay? Sometime, and then at other times they're working in their private capacity, just doing business, making money on the side, and using our kids. You see? That's deep, Tony Knightley. Watch this, y'all. Look at this jurisdiction. Legal standards. Watch this, watch this, watch this. Jurisdiction, the court's authority to power to decide a case. The court must have jurisdiction over the parties and their case. Well, a private membership association does not have jurisdiction over you unless you sign a contract letting them. And we'll find that they're using your social security stuff, your birth certificate and all that, but that's a bunch of bull too, because nobody told you they were going to be doing that and you didn't agree to it. So you can't have a contract where they didn't tell you what's up. Watch this. For example, the court usually has jurisdiction over parties who live in the state or country, and a family court will have jurisdiction over cases like divorce, custody, child support. In most rural areas, family court cases will be decided by the same court as all other cases. There may not be a separate family court, but they will have one of these dang contracts. Watch this. Presumptions. A presumption directs the particular decision by the court if certain facts are present. For example, many states require the court to award both parents joint custody unless the court finds reasons why that would not be in the child's best interest. Many states also have, and this is this presumption bullcrap. They need to get the freak out of here with this, because they're living life as if they can presume whatever they want to and just force something on us. And this is why we have to stand up and stop it. Watch this. Many states also have presumption forbidding a court from awarding custody to a parent who has abused the child or other parent. Now, the funny thing is, in most cases, they're not proving that anybody did anything wrong. If the abuse is properly proven, unless the court finds reason why that would not be in the best interest of the child, which best interest is not explained or defined, so we don't know what that even freaking means, is a presumption in your favor that can help you with the case. If it's against you, you will have to show more to persuade the courtroom the presumption shouldn't apply to you. Now, the funny thing is when they're trying to take over your kids, they're using the same system, the standard of proof. They're going to use the lowest standard of proof possible to take your kids from you. The standard of proof means how much evidence you need to persuade the court that you should get what you asked for. You probably heard beyond a reasonable doubt, which is standard for conviction in criminal cases, which is very high. For family court, the standard is usually a preponderance of evidence. Now notice, these clowns are making money in the business. They have stakeholders. They are full of color of law, and they're making up the rules for what they have to show to jack your freaking kids. Oh, it's only a preponderance of the evidence we need. Well, of course, if you're the one making the rules in your fake court, you're going to make the rules say what you want it to say, and you're going to get your presiding judge to help you push everybody else in the court and all the other workers to follow the same thing. It's freaking bullcrap. Watch this. For family court, the standard is preponderance of the evidence, which is much lower. It means you have to show your story is more likely than true than not. To say in another way, if beyond a reasonable doubt means 99%, a preponderance is 51%. Now, here's the funny thing. The funny thing is, if they know that they can go ahead and take your kids by making up rules that don't apply to you and trick you into signing a voluntary agreement to be part of it, then they don't have to go work very hard because the judge is working with them, the other court officers are working with them, the case workers are working with them, and they're trying to say they're doing it off of equity. This is not an equity court. In order to, let me turn this video around so I can explain this. In a court of equity, equity has to follow the law. So you can't just break the freaking law in order to give equity. And number two, the equity, and I'll give you an example. Let's say if the law says parents have a right to their little ones. You can't say that, well, we have equity as the state, or we have an interest in the little ones and they belong to us first because you signed a birth certificate or because you belong to our state or live in our state. So therefore, we are going to use equity to take our kid from you because the state didn't bring forth the kid. They didn't create the kid. They didn't put anything into the kid. They don't pay for the kid. They don't fund the kid. But they're trying to take your little one and they're trying to act like there's some principle of equity, which means equality or fairness. They're trying to say that they have equity as in they have an interest in the thing, so they're going to just freaking take it from you. Watch this. The family court is the court for families. And now, that's some freaking foolishness right there. You can't even get out the freaking first sentence. When considered in terms of disputes presented and the impact of their resolution upon the litigants and others, the family court is the most powerful branch of the judiciary. You ain't part of the judiciary. You're a private membership association. This power comes from many sources. Now watch this, y'all. This is going to blow the back out of you. Now people keep trying to say, oh, well, family court and dependency court is state law. No, it's not freaking state law. There are some state statutes that get made to mimic some law, but it ain't freaking state law. Let's watch and see what the freak this junk is, because this is getting serious. Look at this. This power comes from many sources. Whoever gives you your power, your judicial power, or your power, is the one where your freaking law is coming from. Watch this. This power comes from sources including constitutional mandates. Well, that's only the ones that go against CPS doing what they're doing because they're not constitutionally mandated for any freaking private association to come jack your freaking kids, okay? It's not in there. But watch this. They're going to tell the truth now. Federal and state statutes, court rules. Well, one thing that we see is that there could be no legislation that can be used in order to abrogate the rights that are involved in the Constitution. That's from Sandra Day O'Connor, Troxel versus Granville. Watch this. Federal and state statutes. So the federal creates the statute that lets them do this, but it was never passed into law. And it started with the 1935 or 1936 Social Security Act, which we might look at. Watch this. State statute, court rules. How the freak are they making rules or legislation to say that they could take your kids? You see what I'm saying? In addition, it is to his written authority, the family court derives inherent powers. Now notice, it ain't written nowhere. So the family court derives its inherent powers as parens patriae, which is bullcrap. From historic position as from its historic position as a court of chancery. Now, if the family court is a new type of court where they've been able to do all this stuff, and we can see where it says that the judges and the court workers will get their new skills and their new powers and all that. What the freak they mean, parens patriae, and the family court's historic position as a court of chancery? That is some bullcrap. Okay? That is some bullcrap. These equitable powers. So they think they got some powers in equity, but what they've done is they've committed a fraud against the people, and they're tricking people because there's some unwritten parens patriae law that they say gave them the power from chancery, which deals with equity, which definitely ain't the same as what they're saying, because in the maxims of equity, equity will not allow a statute to be a cloak for a fraud. So somebody can't just make a statute that allows them to have the right to come take your kid that you created. Cannot happen. But this is the fraud that we are being hit with. Family courts, an effective judicial approach. This is the Juvenile Family Law Journal of 1993 that we're looking at. Watch this. The required social services to meet the needs of dysfunctional families can be provided either by direct services or a referral to appropriate persons or agency. The court's responsibility to provide for social services is often imposed by the state legislature. Do y'all see that? They're saying that the court's role is to provide for social services. That is not the role of any Article 3 court. A court is not to deliver freaking social services. Frequently, the family court is required both by statutory law and case precedents to ensure the delivery of social services. Why? Because they're the ones running the cases in their private courts. So, of course, every court is going to say that they're supposed to do what they want them to do. But that is not inside of the law. In practice, concerns that the best judges will be available to hear family matters are met through careful selection, comprehensive training of judges assigned to the family court. They must be then allowed to function at the highest levels with the full recognition of their peers. Now, the funny thing is that they want other courts to look at what it is that they are doing and just to allow it to go on as if it's okay. But it's a bunch of fraud, and it's not cool. It is a complete trick. Let's look at this one. The court's responsibility to provide for social services is often imposed by the state legislature. See, so the state legislature is getting involved with this system, which they make money on. They have a court improvement program. They have a program where CPS works along with this other Council of Juvenile Family Court Judges. They get a private membership association in private courts. Money goes into the private entity. When that money goes into the private entity, they take money from that account that they have and they backdoor it right into the actual general treasury for the freaking state. So the judges get their actual pay. The judges in the other courts are getting paid from the stealing of the kids in the dependency courts. Watch this. The court's responsibility to provide for social services often imposed by the legislature. Frequently, the family court is required by both statutory law and case precedents to ensure delivery of social services. Now, the funny thing is they're all working together as a team. So really the cases are going to all say what the National Council of Juvenile Family Courts wants it to say. Look at this. Annually, representatives from each of the model courts gather for an all-sites conference. Each active model court is represented by a multidisciplinary team led by a lead judge. The All-States Conference provides an opportunity for all model courts to come together to access progress and goal achievement, identify challenges, brainstorm solutions, and mentor each other. It is not the Constitution that is teaching these people what to do. They're teaching each other how to grow, how to get over, and we have to stop this foolishness. We gotta stop. We gotta stop. Watch this. Model court to be open to change. Change agents, y'all. Change agents. They ain't here to keep stuff the same. They ain't here to stick to what the law says. They're not here to stick to the Constitution. They're looking for change. Open to partnering with community stakeholders. That means other businesses and stakeholders in the process. You're open to work with them. It is through provision of these services that the model court liaison will appraise model court participation and performance. Look, y'all, they got to perform. They got to keep up with what the liaison wants them to do. They got to have a certain number of dependency cases. They got to keep stuff moving. They got to be able to make money. This is how serious it is. And that's right. The Congress does not have the ability to change the fundamental law. Nobody does. But you see, they have snuck in this parens patriae. I'm going to talk to y'all a little bit about this. This parens patriae didn't come from here. It does not follow our law. The law of the land say that your little ones belong to you and you belong to your little one. And I'll give you an example. Let your little one go knock out somebody's window. And that parent can come to your house and say, hey, who does this little one freaking belong to? And it's like, that's my little one. Well, he knocked my window out, and they can sue you for repairing the window. Now, it's funny when CPS wants you to do services, right? If the kids belong to the state, right? This parens patriae, parent of the nation. I'm gonna let you in a second, Big Kirk. Hold on, let me get you in. So, if we're gonna bring Kirk on, if the is so-called, if the state so-called, it says you're coming on. Are you coming? It says that, they say that the state is the child. So here's the question. If the state is the parent of the child, why are you paying for everything for the kid and the food and everything for the kid since they're born? Why are you doing that? And why are you taking your kid to school? Why are you teaching them and raising them?
It's trying to connect and work here.
You're in.
Let me
Can you hear me?
get my Wi-Fi working here. Let's see what happens.
So this is the big problem, guys. We're being tricked into believing that this system is legitimate. And now, what I wanted to do today was just take the time to show you on their own documents who's really running these so-called family and juvenile courts. It is not the judiciary. It is a freaking membership association. And they've been setting up these membership associations to take over the nation for the longest. This is ridiculous. How you doing, Kirk? Are you good? Kirk's working on his system over there. Excuse me, guys.
There we go. Got myself connected Wi-Fi. So that parens patriae, okay, that comes from the British Crown, right? Didn't we declare our independence from British law in January 2nd with the Lee Resolution? We all became individual states. People understand what a state is, right? Your status in the nation. We separated along with the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, but the most important document there really is the Lee Resolution, right? Because that basically tells them to kick rocks. Now, the common law of England, sure, it's still in full force and effect so long as it is not repugnant to our law. So, parens patriae comes from the church, right? The government team coming in as the parent is fundamentally unlawful in our nation.
Break that down some more for us, Kirk. Like, take your time and break it down because I know you got a great knowledge of this stuff. Make it like third grade so we can keep up. Now, everybody, this guy is amazing. I look up to this guy. I listen to him a lot because he has an awesome knowledge on what the real law is. He served our country. He's about the Constitution. He believes in it. He's about common law, and he fought for it. So let's hear what he has to say because, he breaks some stuff down, and he has a lot of knowledge, so you got to slow down and listen. But let's hear what he has to say because he got some good stuff.
Yeah, the basic fundamental principle of law here is that ignorance of the law is no excuse, right? Mm-hmm. So they prey on our ignorance, right? And these people go to law school to learn how to adorn the people through their color of law, statutes, rules, regulation, and policy. And they purport to settle that that's the law, and it's not. And those of you that have been following the comments and the stuff that I've been posting there, the executive orders, the proclamation, and all that good stuff, okay, the proclamation by President Trump, December 8th, he reestablished the rule of law. That is the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution of the United States of America, and the Bill of Rights. Okay, that at its core is the fundamental law. And in order to create a nation, you have to lay down the law, right? So we go to Black's Law Dictionary. What is law? Law is that which is laid down, ordained, and established. So in this nation, which is called right?
Some guys,
We,
hey,
so
you
we
might have to
started,
a couple of seconds. My video just shut down a little bit. Somebody keeps sending a message from some group. So I'm sorry, I just tried to clear it off the screen. Can you go back probably 10 seconds? I apologize. Go back to where you said about laying down the law.
okay, so in laying down the law, we go to Black's Law Dictionary, and law is defined as that which is laid down, ordained, or established. Now, so what does that mean? Because when we look at the preamble to both the Constitution of the United States of America and your state constitutions, you will find, like, I'll just read right out of my Idaho Constitution, the preamble here. Okay? We, the people of the state of Idaho, grateful to Almighty God for our freedom, to secure its blessings and promote our common welfare, do establish this Constitution. Constitutions are ordained and established. So the Constitution of the United States of America says that it's ordained and established, right? But what does laying down the law mean? Laying down the law is declarations. So the first declaration that folks need to read about our ideology, right, a set of ideas, is the declaration for the causes and necessity for taking up arms. That was July 6, 1775, okay, in the Second Continental Congress, right? This is before we actually became the nation, but this was the start of it. We're starting to declare, lay down the law of this nation. And that is actually where the Second Amendment comes from, where it originates in law, as it is written. So then the next one is the Virginia Declaration of Rights. That's June 12, 1776. Notice that's right before the Lee Resolution and the Declaration of Independence. Okay? That is the law of nature as declared, right? Laid down as the law of this nation. Christianity. I don't care if you like that or not. That's the way it is in this nation known as America. So we live by those principles, the morals and ethics from the religion. Now, you don't have to practice the religion, right? We just have to live by those morals. Okay? Thou shalt not commit murder. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. I don't know, not even an atheist that will disagree with me that those fundamental principles of law are okay. There's nothing wrong with thou shalt not commit murder and thou shalt not lie, right? I'm pretty sure everybody's okay with that. So that's what that really means. It's not the religion, it's the morals, the principles. 2 plus 2 equals 4. That plus sign and that equal sign are the fundamental principles of mathematics that dictate the correct answer every time. I don't care how you feel. I don't care about your opinion. You know, you might be having a bad day and you think 2 plus 2 equals 5. You're still wrong because the principles dictate that the answer is 4, right? And anyone of sound mind using logic and reason should come to the reasonable conclusion based in reality that the answer is 4. If not, you're insane. Sorry. So, understanding the ideology and laying down the law of this nation, then we go into the Lee Resolution, July 2nd, 1775. Then we have the Declaration of Independence. Then we have the Articles of Confederation. Okay? Then we get into the Constitution of the United States of America. That's our form of government. That's the delegations of a power, right? And you can only codify what we say you can codify, because that's what statutes is: code, codify, however you want to say it. The code, right, has to be full of law, based on law, must be lawful. So the Constitution delegates the authority to codify what parts of the law, and those other rights or other powers retained by the people are powers not delegated to codify, such as natural rights and civil rights. And now we go to American Jurisprudence, Volume 15, Civil Rights Section, Section 2, which specifically says that natural rights and civil rights have nothing to do with the establishment, the legislative branch, support, the executive branch, or management, which would be the judicial branch, of government, because that is not a power we delegated to them. That was reserved to the people. We got this. At the common law, we'll take care of our own stuff here. You guys can take care of the interstate and foreign commerce, and the state can actually take care of the intrastate commerce, because those powers were delegated to the federal government, and what's not delegated to the federal government is reserved to the states respectively, or to the people. So all political powers inherent that serve them. The people do not yield their sovereignty to the so created. That's Idaho Code Title 74, subsection 201, Ethics in Government. So I really want people to read the Declaration of Independence, because you need to understand the declared acts of tyranny here. You know, he has combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction and give his assent to their legislation. What does that sound like to you folks? Wow, that was in 1776 as a declared act of tyranny.